All right. What's up? This is Demi, and today I want to talk about problems and mindsets for working as a quote unquote creative freelancer. In my opinion, a problem for many people is that they either give up too early, so they haven't even really tried, they haven't really sent out a million emails, or they do have some sort of a job. Like, let's say if you're a writer, you get hired by a local magazine to do like some menial tasks. So basically, you're understimulated by what you have to do. Starting off by saying this right away is like the top priority should always be living on your own terms. And like as soon as you're not someone's bitch, basically, it's all winning from there. And I know it's hard to think that way at times. And I want to dive into some tangible examples that I've been through, and the mindset that really helped me get out of this. Because I know how it feels. I'm a photographer, and I used to work for an agency that had me shoot at parties. I absolutely hated it. It was like parties, certain events, maybe at a trade fair, and yeah, I remember the worst thing that I ever had to do was it was a kids event, like it was called Kids Day at a retail store, like a fashion clothing retail store. They had a kids event planned. So they would build up like, I don't know, all these obstacle courses and skating rinks and all that bullshit, and I had to take photos there for 4 hours. So I was surrounded by all these kids, kneeling down to fucking take all their pictures, and literally their parents didn't even know that I was hired by the place. So half the time they would stare at me and look and see what the fuck I was doing there with my camera. Some even came up to me and were like, "Why are you taking pictures of my kid?" In my memory, one of the worst days in the past 4 to 5 years, like for sure. It's like at the forefront of my mind right now. But it was my job. Oh my God. It was so awkward. It was so bad. Well, I worked for this agency for quite a while. Actually, somewhere a little bit over a year, I'd say. And going from job to job, I lost photography as a hobby altogether. Because I felt so dissatisfied with what I had to do at these like boring parties and events, and I felt much like a student that is way ahead of their class and gets bored altogether. But obviously that comes at a risk, because a lot of the times kids that are bored in class because they're like understimulated, they get horrible grades, right? And I was actually doing the same thing. I was half-assing it, even though my capability totally exceeded all the stuff that I had to do, like by a landslide. Um, but at the same time, I was there, and I know that this agency had bigger clients. One of them being, for example, being Levi's, which I always have dreamed of shooting a campaign for Levi's. I just like the whole vibe surrounding it. I like that they have basically been the same way and had made the same clothes for like the past couple of decades, when all the other brands in the world like literally changed over the years. They always stayed the same. So, long story short, little side tangent there, but yeah, basically my big dream was always like to shoot a campaign for a company like Levi's. But I mean, think about it, right? Would you hire me at this point? A guy that isn't constantly using his camera anymore. I'm not experimenting. I'm not strengthening the skills that I have like all the time. Like every competitor that is a runner up for ever shooting for Levi's, they're all shooting all the time. They're all like basically masters in their craft. Um, but yeah, I was so turned off by these jobs that I stopped taking photos altogether. Like I just couldn't see anything good in it anymore for myself. And well, at this point, I was basically twice fucked, Because, it's like taking drugs because you got dumped by your girlfriend, right? Now you don't only have an emotional problem, you also have a drug slash health problem. And the next thing in line, waiting is going to be a money problem. And that's exactly what I faced too. Because I was half asking these jobs, meaning that the clients would complain about some of the pictures or that they didn't come out the way that they wanted them to. And I was getting hired less and less. I don't know. I got all these shitty jobs that no one else in my agency wanted to do, and I really had no choice but to do them because I would have been broke otherwise, right? So I really sat down with myself and I had to make some realizations like where this is going and what I am thinking about this and the way I act, because as a man too, like not just as a photographer, as a creative, but as a man too, if you tend to create like shitty work or stuff that you're not happy with, at least that doesn't live up to your abilities, you tend to really like form some sort of hatred or dislike for yourself, because it's getting harder to look at yourself in the mirror if you just don't add anything to the world or you don't share anything valuable really. So I was just getting paid to go through the motions, and everyone felt it too. So once I realized that, I had to snap out of it. I had to snap out of it in some way. I always said to myself, no matter what I photograph to get paid, I'm getting paid for photographing things, right? And that constitute like the core essential of that sentence is basically that I live by my own terms. And I think if you see yourself in a similar situation, maybe you are a creative and you just maybe are making some sort of income, but you are not inspired by the work that you have to do. Maybe you're pissed off by the clients that you have. You feel like they don't get your art, your artistic depth. They always want the same thing. They always want the ABC kind of movement, but all you want to do is be super creative about it. I think you have to keep that in mind at all times. Make sure that you live by your own terms, and that should be your top priority. Let this be like a guide through the overwhelming life as a quote unquote creative freelancer, because in the end that's all you can hang on to. You're not somebody's bitch. You're building a life for yourself, and you're like for myself, in my case, I'm doing it at the push of a button. I work as a camera guy. Like I'm a photographer. I get paid for that. Other people get up at 4 a.m. They have to go out in the rain and I don't know, deliver packages or work, at a fucking register or at a bank or something where someone, tells them what to wear and stuff like that. As soon as you see the beauty in life that it is if you live by your own terms, man, it's getting easier and easier to do these menial tasks. And I tell you what, if you exceed those over and over again, the jobs that you do get are gonna rise too. They're gonna rise equally to your skill set, and that's the beauty of it too. So yeah, thanks for listening. Again, let me know what you think of these podcasts, and see you in the next one.